Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you again to this platform for our discussion today. Now, I have a kind request before you watch this video. I kindly request that you subscribe to this platform, and most importantly, I encourage you to engage me on the comment section. I know there are some things that I might say that you might not agree with, and there are some that you might agree with. I pray and I request humbly that you share with me on the comment section. I have always opined on this platform that I am somebody who enjoys criticism. Criticize me on the comment section, and I will always thank you for that. That aside, we must admit today that World War III is on. Why am I saying that World War III is on? One of the indications of a world war is always taking sides. By taking sides, I mean that countries align themselves with their allies and against their enemies. If that is so, then I would rightly say that the World War III began on 22nd February 2022 with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, that is last year, February 22nd, countries took sides. There were countries that were supporting Russia, and there were countries that were against Russia. And in this move, enemies and allies were created. Now, when Russia invaded Ukraine last year on February 22nd, United States and NATO and the European Union aligned themselves against Russia. That means that they took sides and they established themselves as allies to Ukraine. During the same war and during the same invasion, Russia got support from the likes of North Korea, the likes of China, and the likes of South Africa and other African countries. Iran also supported Russia in its invasion of Ukraine. Now, Russia invasion of Ukraine made countries to take sides. The same thing is happening today with the Hamas provocation of Israel. When Hamas provoked Israel by firing around 4,000 missiles unexpectedly, global countries took sides. There were countries that supported Hamas in its move to invade Israel, and there are countries that were against Hamas in its invasion of Israel. At the same time, there were countries that supported Israel in its retaliation to Hamas provocation, and there were some countries that were against Israel in its retaliation to Hamas provocation. Now, when we talk about enemies and allies in the ongoing war between Hamas and Israel, Israel is getting support from the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, and I believe all NATO members are supporting Israel in this war. On the other side, Hamas are getting strong support from the likes of Lebanon, from the likes of Iran, and I believe the likes of China, who are allies of Russia. China, North Korea are supporting Hamas in this war. Now you can see, when I talk about taking sides, countries taking sides, countries took sides in the Russia-Ukraine war. The same thing is happening in the ongoing Hamas-Israel war. Countries have taken sides. And always, when we talk about world war, when I say that World War III has begun, a world war is a war which, according to, let me say, Wikipedia defines world war in very simple terms. Just a minute. According to Wikipedia, which is always our first reference point, a world war is an international conflict that involves most or all of the world's major powers. Very simple. a war that involves world's major powers. Now, today when we talk about world's major powers, we talk about the likes of China, we talk about North Korea, we talk about Russia, we talk about United States, we talk about United Kingdom. Those are the world's leading superpowers. Are these superpowers involved in the ongoing wars? Yes, they are involved. United States is supporting Israel in the ongoing war. Russia on the other side is supporting Hamas in the ongoing war. Germany is supporting Israel in the ongoing war, and China is supporting Hamas in the ongoing war. At the same time, the United Kingdom is supporting Israel in the ongoing war with Hamas, and North Korea is supporting Hamas in the ongoing war. At the same time, Lebanon is supporting Hamas on the other side, and I believe all other NATO members are supporting Israel in this war. Now, when we talk about and not forgetting Iran supporting Hamas in the ongoing war. Now, the current wars, the Russia-Ukraine war and the Hamas-Israel war, has brought on board all the world's superpowers, and other small countries are also involved in this war. And when you check the history of world wars, when you check the history of First World War and the Second World War, you will find that it all started as what is happening today. One country invaded the other, and the allies and enemies invaded each other. I want to just refer you to the history of World War I, the timeline of World War I, for us to justify what is happening today and support our arguments that World War III has begun. Now, on June, when we talk about World War I, that was between 1914 and 1918. Some always talk about 1919 and the rest. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which was the immediate cause of World War I, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914, June 28th. On July 28th, that is 1 month later, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. That means that Austria-Hungary attacked Serbia. On August 2nd, Germany invaded Luxembourg and Belgium. France invaded Alsace, and British forces arrived in France. Now you can see what started happening is that allies of Austria-Hungary and allies of Serbia were now invading one another. When I talk about February 18th, 1915, Germany began naval blockade of Great Britain. That simply means that Germany invaded Britain, because Germany and Britain were on the opposite sides of World War I. The same thing will happen in the current war. If Israel has now invaded Hamas, the United States will support Israel in the war by simply providing arms, and I have seen some news reports that the United States has brought its aeroplane carriers near Israel. When United States declares war on Hamas, then Russia will also declare war on the United States. When the United States declares war on, let me say Lebanon, or maybe Germany, or the United Kingdom declares war on Lebanon, it will be very simple. Iran might declare war on Germany, or the United Kingdom, or the United States. And if Russia declares war on the United States, if Iran declares war on Germany or the United Kingdom, if North Korea declares war on the United States, if China declares war on the United Kingdom, that will be all hell will break loose. That is when people will know that World War III had begun long time ago, last year, on February 22nd, 2022. I have always emphasized on this platform that there is no need for a war. There is no need for people to fight. There is no need for people to live in a state of fear in their own countries. Kwame Nkrumah once said that Africa can never be peaceful when the rest of the world is fighting. What do I mean by this statement? I mean that if World War III has begun, if these superpowers decide to fight one another, Africa, despite it being silent, despite African countries maybe maintaining a neutral position in this war, Africa will never be peaceful. At some point, this war will be brought to Africa, and the effects of this war will be felt in Africa. That is what Kwame Nkrumah simply meant with Africa can never be peaceful when the rest of the world is at war. I want to encourage global leaders that peace is mandatory in the present times. There is no need for innocent civilians to die. Peace is mandatory, and we need peace to live as brothers and sisters. If there is any issue between countries, if there is any issue between governments, I believe that issues can always be solved through diplomatic means. War should always be the last resort. Countries should resort to war as a last resort. Before engaging in war, I believe that governments and leaders should engage diplomatically. They should solve their differences without fighting. This applies to the current context. There is no need for Israel to fight Hamas. There is no need for Russia to fight Ukraine. And in the results of all these wars is the death of innocent civilians. More than 7 million people died during COVID-19 pandemic. And I believe if World War III begins, more millions will die. Even if it is a strategy of controlling the global population through wars, I believe our leaders should reconsider. We need to live as brothers and sisters, and we need to live in peace without fighting. The United Nations has failed in its work, and I believe that the United Nations was formed with the basic ideology, the basic primary objective of preventing war. I want to inform everyone that World War III is on, and if World War III is on, then millions will die and millions will be displaced. But there is still time that our global leaders can still restore peace in Hamas, in Palestine, and Israel. There is need for our world leaders to solve the differences between Hamas and Israel, and there is need for our world leaders to solve the differences between Russia and Ukraine, for everyone to live in peace.